€40. Single black dad selling snacks ignores millionaire CEO until she whispers, "Remember me." Roland Mercer adjusted the striped awning on his snack cart, positioning it to provide maximum shade on this particularly hot Seattle afternoon. At 38 years old, he'd perfected the art of street vending, knowing exactly where to set up, when to arrive, which products sold best at different times of day. His cart, painted cheerful red and white, offered fresh fruit cups, homemade protein bars, cold-pressed juices, and healthy snacks to the business district's lunch crowd. "Mr. Roland," a young professional waved as she approached. "Got any of those mango cups left?" "For you, Stephanie. Always. Here you go." "You're a lifesaver. This is literally the healthiest lunch option within 10 blocks. Roland smiled, handing over her order. This was his life now. 12-hour days on his feet, working corner to corner across downtown Seattle, building a customer base one transaction at a time. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work that let him be there when his 7-year-old son Micah got out of school. "Daddy," speaking of which, Micah came running across the plaza, his backpack bouncing. Roland's neighbor Portia, who picked Micah up from school each day, waved from a bench. "Hey buddy, how was school?" "We learned about fractions, and I got 100 on my spelling test." Micah's enthusiasm was infectious. "That's my smart boy. High five." As Micah chattered about his day, Roland noticed the usual lunch rush building. Office workers poured out of the surrounding buildings, many heading straight for his cart. He'd built a reputation for quality, fair prices, and genuine kindness, traits that kept customers coming back. "Roland, my man." Thaddeus, another street vendor who sold jewelry from a cart 2 blocks over, stopped by. "You hear about the new regulations? City Council's trying to limit vendor permits again." "I heard. We organizing another protest?" "Meeting Thursday. We need all the vendors there. Strength in numbers." After Thaddeus left, Roland got back to work. The lunch rush was his busiest time, and he couldn't afford to miss sales. Every dollar counted when you were raising a kid alone. That's when he saw her, a blonde woman in an expensive gray suit, flanked by 2 assistants, walking through the plaza like she owned it. Something about her was familiar, the way she moved, the tilt of her head, something Roland couldn't quite place. She was on her phone, clearly important, clearly wealthy, clearly someone who wouldn't give a street vendor a second glance. She passed his cart without looking, and Roland felt a strange pang of something. Recognition? Disappointment? He couldn't name it. "That's Willa Hartley," one of his regular customers said, following his gaze. "CEO of Hartley Digital Media, worth like $40 million. She just bought the Riverside building." "Good for her," Roland said neutrally, pushing down whatever weird feeling had surfaced. The rest of the afternoon passed normally. Roland sold out of most items by 3 p.m., packed up his cart, and headed home with Micah. Their apartment was small but cozy. 2 bedrooms in a building that had seen better days, but was safe and affordable. Roland's mother, Aurora, was waiting with dinner, already cooking. "How was business?" she asked, hugging both her son and grandson. "Good. Sold out early." Micah aced his spelling test. Of course he did. Smart like his daddy. Aurora ruffled Micah's hair. "Go wash up, baby. Dinner in 10 minutes. Later, after Micah was asleep and Aurora had gone home, Roland sat at his small kitchen table working on his business plan. He'd been saving for 3 years, working toward opening a proper, healthy food cafe. Something with a physical location, employees, stability. He was close, so close, but the startup costs kept feeling just out of reach. His phone buzzed, a text from his younger brother Emmett. "You see the news? Hartley Digital Media is expanding, hiring 500 people. You should apply for something in their cafeteria services." Roland laughed bitterly. Apply to work for a millionaire CEO? He'd rather stick with his cart, thank you very much. At least here, he was his own boss. But that night, he dreamed of the blonde woman in the plaza, and in his dreams, she had a different face. Younger, kinder, with a smile he hadn't seen in 20 years. Willa Hartley was having the day from hell. Her acquisition of the Riverside building was falling apart because the sellers had discovered additional interested buyers. Her head of marketing had quit to join a competitor, and her father, Graham, kept calling with unsolicited advice about running his company, even though Willa had bought him out 3 years ago, and the company was legally hers now. "Celeste, cancel my afternoon meetings," Willa told her executive assistant. "I need to walk. Clear my head. Ma'am, you have the board presentation at 3. Reschedule it. I can't think in that office right now. Willa walked through downtown Seattle, her heels clicking on pavement, her mind racing with problems and solutions. She didn't usually take walks. Time was money. Efficiency was everything. But today, she needed air. She found herself in the business district plaza where she'd walked yesterday. The lunch crowd had thinned, but a few vendors remained, including the one with the red and white cart who'd caught her eye the day before. Today, she actually looked at him. Really looked. He was tall, with dark skin and close-cropped hair, wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt. His face was kind, patient as he dealt with customers, smiling at a little boy who was clearly his son. Something about him was so familiar, it made Willa's chest ache. Then he turned, and their eyes met across the plaza. And Willa knew. She knew him, knew that face, those eyes, that gentle smile. 20 years had changed. Him filled him out, matured his features, added tiny lines around his eyes. But it was unmistakably him. Roland Mercer, from Lincoln High School in Tacoma, from her junior and senior year when they'd been... No, it couldn't be. What were the odds? But Willa knew statistics, knew probability, and she knew her own memory. That was Roland. Her Roland, from 20 years ago, when they'd been young and stupid and beautifully in love. She approached the cart, her heart pounding in a way it hadn't during any business deal. "Excuse me," she said, her voice carefully neutral. "What do you recommend?" Roland looked up, and Willa saw recognition flicker across his face, then deliberately shut down. His expression went carefully blank. "Fruit cups are popular. Protein bars if you need something more filling. Everything's fresh made this morning. Fruit cup, please." He prepared it efficiently, not meeting her eyes. $8. Willa handed him a 10. "Keep the change." "Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day." "Ma'am." He'd called her ma'am like she was a stranger, like they hadn't spent every lunch period senior year sitting under the bleachers talking about their dreams, like he hadn't been her first love, her first kiss, her first everything that mattered. "Roland." Willa's voice was soft. "It's me, Willa. Willa Hartley. Well, I was Willa Morrison back then, but I know who you are." His voice was cold. "Everyone knows who Willa Hartley is. CEO, millionaire, very successful. You remember me? I remember a lot of things. Is there anything else you need, ma'am? I have other customers waiting." There were no other customers. The plaza was nearly empty. He was dismissing her, pushing her away, and Willa felt panic rising. She'd thought about Roland over the years, wondered where he'd ended up, whether he'd achieved his dreams, whether he ever thought about her. "Can we talk, please? Just 5 minutes?" "I don't think that's a good idea." "Roland, please. It's been 20 years. Can't we at least 20 years during which you never once tried to contact me. 20 years where you made it very clear that your life had no room for people like me. So no, Willa, we can't talk. Enjoy your fruit cup." He turned away, busying himself with cleaning his cart. Dismissed, rejected, and Willa understood she probably deserved it. But she wasn't giving up. Not on this. Not on him. That evening, Willa couldn't focus on work. She sat in her luxury penthouse overlooking Elliott Bay, surrounded by expensive furniture and achievements and crushing loneliness. And all she could think about was Roland Mercer selling snacks from a cart. Her best friend Gianna called for their weekly check-in. "You sound distracted. What's wrong?" "I saw someone today. From high school. Someone who mattered." "Mattered how?" "We dated senior year for about 6 months. He was everything. Smart, kind, had these huge dreams about changing the world. I was completely in love with him. So what happened? My father happened. Graham found out I was dating a black guy from the poor side of town, and he lost his mind. Told me I was throwing away my future, embarrassing the family, being foolish. He threatened to cut me off, to not pay for college, to disown me if I didn't break up with Roland immediately. And you did? Broke up with him? I was 17 and terrified. I thought I needed my father's money, his approval, his support. So yes, I broke up with Roland. Told him we wanted different things, that I needed to focus on my future. All the cowardly excuses scared girls use when they're not brave enough to fight for love. Oh, Willa. The worst part? I never explained why. Never told him about my father's ultimatum. I just ended it and let him think I didn't care, that he didn't matter. And Gianna, from the way he looked at me today, he still thinks that. So tell him the truth. Explain what happened. I tried. He wouldn't talk to me, just sold me a fruit cup and sent me away. Then try harder. Willa, you've built a $40 million company through sheer determination. Apply that same energy to your personal life. After hanging up, Willa pulled out her old yearbooks. There he was. Roland Mercer, junior year, voted most likely to change the world, on the debate team, in the honor society, always with a book under his arm and dreams bigger than their small town could contain. She'd loved him. God, she'd loved him so much it had terrified her. And when her father had forced her to choose between Roland and her future, she'd chosen wrong. Now, 20 years later, fate had given her a second chance, and Willa Hartley didn't waste second chances. Hello, my Stop Racism family. Thank you for tuning in today. Before we dive deeper into this beautiful love story, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments below. Also, I'd love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the story so far? Do you believe love can truly conquer prejudice? Let us know in the comments. We love reading them. And trust me, your words motivate us to keep making these videos. Let's make this video reach at least 50 comments. Your support means the world to us, and it drives us to create even more meaningful content for you. So don't forget to comment, share, and keep spreading love. For the next week, Willa came to Roland's cart every day. She bought fruit cups, protein bars, juice, whatever he was selling, and tried to engage him in conversation. He remained politely distant, professional, and completely closed off. Beautiful day. Willa tried on Wednesday. Yes, ma'am. Will that be all? Your son is adorable. What's his name? Micah. $8.50 for the juice, please. Roland, can we please talk? Just 5 minutes. I'm working. Have a good day, ma'am. But Friday, Willa was frustrated and desperate. She enlisted Celeste's help researching Roland. Not in a creepy way, just trying to understand his life now. He's a licensed vendor, Celeste reported. Been operating for 3 years. Before that, he worked various jobs. Restaurant manager, community center coordinator, youth counselor. He has a 7-year-old son, no wife listed, no criminal record, no debt beyond normal expenses. He's clean, boss. I wasn't checking his record. I wanted to know if he was okay, if life had been good to him. Doesn't look like life's been particularly generous, but he's making it work. That night, Willa did something she hadn't done since building her company. She sought advice from her father. Graham Hartley was difficult, controlling, and often racist, but he knew Seattle's business community inside and out. Daddy, do you remember Roland Mercer from when I was in high school? Graham's expression soured. That black boy you were wasting time with? Why on earth are you bringing him up? I saw him. He's in Seattle selling snacks from a street cart. Good. That's probably where he belongs. Willa, please tell me you're not thinking of reconnecting with him. You're a CEO now. You have a reputation to maintain. You made me break up with him, threatened to cut me off if I didn't, and I'd do it again. Sweetheart, I was protecting you. People like us don't mix with people like him. It's not prejudice, it's reality. Class differences matter, race matters, and you would have been limiting your potential. I loved him. You were 17. You loved lots of things at 17 that weren't good for you. Willa, if you're feeling nostalgic or lonely, find an appropriate partner, someone from our world. Not a street vendor. The call left Willa furious and more determined than ever. Her father's prejudice was exactly what had destroyed her relationship with Roland the first time. She wouldn't let it win again. Monday morning, Willa didn't go to Roland's cart. Instead, she did research. She found out where Micah went to school, discovered that Roland was trying to save money for a cafe, learned about the vendor permit restrictions that were threatening his livelihood, and she formed a plan. Mr. Mercer? Willa approached Roland's cart Tuesday afternoon with a professional smile. I'm Willa Hartley, CEO of Hartley Digital Media. I have a business proposition for you. Roland's eyes narrowed. I'm not interested. You haven't heard it yet. We're opening a new employee wellness center in our headquarters. We need a healthy food vendor to run the cafe. Full-time position, benefits, stable income. I think you'd be perfect. No. The salary would be. I said no. I don't need your charity, Willa. It's not charity. It's a legitimate job offer. From my ex-girlfriend who I haven't seen in 20 years, who shows up out of nowhere and suddenly wants to offer me employment? That's charity, or pity, or guilt, none of which I need. Roland, please. I'm my own boss. I like being my own boss. I don't need to work for you or anyone else. Now, if you're not buying anything, please leave. You're blocking my customers." Willa left, frustrated but not defeated. If Roland wouldn't accept help directly, she'd have to be more subtle. She called a meeting with Quincy, her business partner and head of operations. "The city's proposing new vendor regulations. I want us to oppose them. Publicly." "Why? It doesn't affect our business. It affects small business owners trying to make a living. That affects the community we operate in. I want us to file an opposition statement, support the vendors' coalition, and offer pro bono legal support." "Willa, this isn't like you. Since when do we take political stands?" "Since I realized we have resources that could actually help people, instead of just enriching shareholders." "Make it happen, Quincy." The next week, when the vendor coalition met to organize their opposition to the new regulations, they were surprised to find legal representation courtesy of Hartley Digital Media. Roland was there, and when he saw the lawyers mention Willa's company, his expression darkened. After the meeting, he found her in the parking lot. She'd deliberately shown up, hoping for exactly this confrontation. "What are you doing?" Roland demanded. "Supporting small businesses. Is that a crime? You're doing this because of me. Stop, I don't need your help. Maybe I'm not doing it for you. Maybe I'm doing it because it's right." "Roland, can you please stop being so stubborn for 5 minutes and just talk to me?" "Why? What is there to talk about? You were my girlfriend 20 years ago. You broke up with me out of nowhere, went off to your fancy college, built your fancy company, and now you're a millionaire who probably slums at street vendor carts for the charitable PR. There's nothing to discuss. That's not what happened. Then what did happen? Because from my perspective, you got exactly what you wanted. Money, success, power, and I got," he gestured to himself, "this. So congratulations, Willa. You won." "I didn't win anything. Roland, I've been miserable. Yes, I have money and a company, but I don't have what matters. I don't have love or family or genuine connection. I lost all of that when I lost you. You didn't lose me. You threw me away. Because my father threatened me. He said he'd cut me off completely if I didn't break up with you. He said I was embarrassing the family, limiting my potential, being foolish. I was 17 and terrified, and I made the worst decision of my life. I chose his money over your love, and I've regretted it every single day since." Roland stared at her, emotions warring across his face. "Your father made you break up with me?" "Yes, and I was too much of a coward to tell you the truth, to fight for us, to choose what actually mattered. I'm sorry, Roland. I'm so sorry." The anger in his expression cracked, revealing something softer underneath. "I thought you didn't want me, that I wasn't good enough for your plans, your future. I thought," his voice broke, "I thought I didn't matter to you. You were everything to me. You still are. Roland, seeing you again, seeing what you've built despite having nothing handed to you, I'm in awe. You're raising a beautiful son, running a successful business, staying true to yourself. You became exactly who you were meant to be. I became a street vendor barely making ends meet. You became a father, an entrepreneur, a man of integrity. That's worth more than all my millions." They stood in the parking lot, 20 years of hurt and misunderstanding hanging between them. Finally, Roland spoke. "I have a son. Micah is my whole world. I can't let someone into his life who might disappear, who might decide I'm not good enough after all. I won't disappear. And Roland, you were always good enough. You were too good for me. I'm the one who failed us. I don't know if I can trust you. Not yet. Then let me earn it. Let me prove I've changed, that I'm not the scared 17-year-old who chose wrong. Give me a chance, Roland. Please." He studied her face for a long moment. "Coffee. Thursday. Neutral location. We really talk about what happened and whether there's any possibility of moving forward." "Yes, absolutely yes. But Willa, if you hurt me again, if you decide this is some nostalgic fantasy that doesn't fit your real life, I'm done. I won't give you a third chance. I won't need one. I promise." Thursday's coffee date was the most nerve-wracking thing Willa had done in years. More stressful than board meetings, acquisition negotiations, or media interviews, because this actually mattered. Roland arrived exactly on time, sitting across from her in a corner booth of a quiet cafe. He looked guarded, but willing to listen. "Tell me everything," he said. "What happened after you broke up with me? Why didn't you ever explain about your father?" Willa took a deep breath. "After I broke up with you, I cried for months. Went to college at Stanford like my father wanted, tried to throw myself into studying. But I was miserable, Roland. I'd lost you. Lost the one person who actually saw me instead of just seeing my father's money. You could have called, explained. I tried. 3 times I picked up the phone, and 3 times I chickened out. What was I going to say? Sorry I broke your heart, but my racist father made me do it. It sounded pathetic. It was pathetic. So you just moved on? Met someone else? I dated. Never seriously. No one was you. They were all safe, appropriate, boring. Men my father approved of. Men from good families who saw me as a trophy or a business opportunity. I married one of them. Lasted 2 years before we both admitted we didn't actually love each other. Roland's expression flickered with something. Jealousy? Satisfaction? Kids? No. I threw myself into work instead. Built my company, made my fortune, proved to my father I didn't need his money anymore. And then I bought him out of the company 3 years ago and told him his opinion no longer mattered. Took you long enough. I know. I'm a slow learner. But Roland, I need you to understand. Not seeing you, not knowing what happened to you, wondering if you were happy, it's haunted me. Every success felt hollow because I didn't have anyone real to share it with. I have money and power and a big empty penthouse, and I'm lonely. So lonely. You think reconnecting with your high school boyfriend will fix that? I think you're the only person who's ever really known me, who saw past my father's money and my forced sophistication to who I actually was underneath. You believed in me, Roland. In my dreams, my potential, me as a person. No one's believed in me like that since. Roland was quiet for a long moment. You want to know what happened to me? After you broke up with me out of nowhere, crushing my heart and destroying my ability to trust anyone? Yes, I finished high school barely functional. Went to community college because I couldn't afford anything else. Worked 3 jobs, graduated with honors, tried to get into law school like I'd planned. Got rejected everywhere despite perfect grades. Turns out you need money and connections for the good schools. And I had neither. Roland, I'm not done. I worked as a youth counselor, trying to help kids like me who had dreams bigger than their circumstances. Met Micah's mom, Simone. She got pregnant. We tried to make it work, but she had postpartum depression that never got better. She left when Micah was 2. Haven't heard from her since. I'm so sorry. I raised Micah alone. Worked whatever jobs I could find that let me be there for him. Started the snack cart 3 years ago because I needed flexibility and income. And yeah, it's not what I dreamed of back in high school, but it's honest work that feeds my son. That matters. It does matter. Roland, you're amazing. Everything you've overcome, everything you've built. Don't romanticize my struggle, Willa. Poverty isn't noble. Being forced into survival mode instead of achieving your potential isn't character building. It's exhausting. I'm not some inspirational story. I'm a man who's been scraping by for 20 years. I know. And I'm not trying to romanticize anything. I'm trying to say that I'm impressed, that I admire what you've accomplished despite the obstacles. Obstacles that included you abandoning me when I needed you most. The words hit like a physical blow. You're right. I failed you. I failed us. And I understand if you can't forgive that. I don't know if I can forgive it. But Willa, I also don't know if I can ignore the fact that seeing you again has awakened feelings I thought were dead. You were my first love. You showed me what it felt like to be seen, valued, loved for who I was instead of what I could provide. And no one since has come close. Not even Simone. Simone and I were practical, not passionate. We had Micah and did our best. But it was never what we had. What you and I had was real, Willa. That's what made losing it so devastating. They talked for 3 hours. About high school, about their divergent paths, about regrets and missed opportunities, and the strange cruelty of timing. And slowly, carefully, the wall between them began to crumble. I want to try again, Willa said finally. I want to see if what we had can exist now, with grown-up complications and baggage in reality. But only if you want that too. I want it. But Willa, I have conditions. Anything. 1. You meet Micah, but slowly. He's been through enough instability. I won't introduce him to someone who might not stay. Agreed. 2. This relationship is between equals. I don't need you to save me or fix my financial problems. I'm proud of what I've built, and I need you to respect that. Of course. 3. If your father or anyone from your world has a problem with me, with my race, my class, my circumstances, you stand up to them. Immediately. I won't be anyone's secret or dirty little secret. I will. I promise. Roland, I spent 20 years letting my father's prejudice control my life. That ends now. Okay, then let's try. Slowly, carefully, but genuinely. Let's see if we can recapture what we lost. Willa felt tears of relief. Thank you for giving me another chance I absolutely don't deserve. You're right. You don't deserve it. But I'm giving it to you anyway. Don't make me regret it. Over the next month, Willa and Roland began carefully dating. Coffee dates became dinner dates. Dinner dates became long walks along the waterfront. And slowly, tentatively, they began to trust each other again. Tell me about Micah, Willa said one evening as they walked through Pike Place Market. He's everything. Smart, funny, way too perceptive for a 7-year-old. He loves science, hates vegetables, and asks a million questions about everything. He must get the intelligence from you. And the stubbornness. He's a lot like I was at that age. Curious, determined, frustrated by limitations. When can I meet him? Soon. I've been preparing him. Told him I'm seeing someone, that she's important to me, that she knew me when I was his age. He's curious, but nervous. I'm nervous too. Roland, I've never been around kids much. What if he doesn't like me? Be yourself, the real you, not the CEO version. Kids can smell fake from a mile away. The meeting happened 2 weeks later at the Seattle Aquarium. Willa was terrified, overdressed in designer jeans and a silk blouse that screamed, trying too hard. But Micah's enthusiasm was disarming. You're the lady Daddy talks about, Micah said, studying her with open curiosity. He said you knew him when he was a kid. What was he like? He was... Willa smiled at Roland. Very smart, always reading, always asking questions. A lot like you, actually. Did he like science? He loved history more, but he appreciated science. He used to explain physics to me when I didn't understand our homework. They spent 3 hours at the aquarium. Micah showed her his favorite exhibits, explained facts about sea creatures with adorable earnestness, and gradually warmed up to her presence. By the end, he held both their hands as they walked back to Roland's car. She's nice, Daddy, Micah said. Can she come to dinner at Grandma's house? We'll see, buddy. But Willa saw the approval in Roland's eyes. She'd passed the test. Meeting Aurora, Roland's mother, was more intimidating. The woman was sharp-eyed and protective, welcoming Willa into her modest home with polite wariness. So, you're the ex-girlfriend, Aurora said directly. The one who broke my son's heart in high school. Yes, ma'am, and I'm deeply sorry for that. I was young and stupid and made a terrible choice. Young and stupid is one thing. Cruel is another. You didn't just break up with him, you disappeared. No explanation, no closure. Do you know what that did to him? I have some idea. And Mrs. Mercer, I know I don't deserve a second chance, but I'm asking for one anyway. Your son he's still the most incredible person I've ever met. I was a fool to let him go, and I'm trying desperately not to be a fool again. Aurora studied her carefully. My son is too forgiving, always has been. But I'm not. You heard him again, and you'll answer to me. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Completely understood. Over dinner, a delicious home-cooked meal that put Willa's takeout habit to shame. Aurora grilled her about her life, her company, her intentions. Micah chattered happily, unaware of the undercurrent of tension, and Roland watched the two women in his life size each other up with cautious amusement. She's tough, Willa said later as Roland walked her to her car. She's protective, and she has reason to be. I put her through hell after you left. Depressed, angry, lost. She picked up the pieces. So, yeah, she's skeptical. I'll win her over, somehow. You're off to a decent start. She didn't actively throw you out. High praise. Roland laughed, pulling her close. Willa, this is working. Us. I didn't think it could, but it is. I know. I'm terrified it's too good to be true. Same, but let's be terrified together. They kissed under the streetlight, and Willa felt 17 again. Hopeful, reckless, deeply in love. The trouble started when a society blogger photographed Willa and Roland together at a charity gala. Willa had invited Roland as her date, her first public appearance with him, and they'd both dressed up for the occasion. Roland looked incredible in a rented tux, but the photos and commentary were brutal. Millionaire CEO dating street vendor, slumming or genuine, one headline read. Willa Hartley's charity case. Is this love or guilt? Asked another. The comments were worse. Racist, classist, cruel. They questioned Roland's motives, Willa's judgment, and whether their relationship was appropriate, given their different backgrounds. I'm sorry, Willa said when she saw the coverage. I didn't think I should have prepared you for this. For public judgment of our relationship? Yeah, that would have been nice. Roland, it's fine. I knew this would happen. Society has opinions about interracial relationships, especially when there's a class difference. People can't accept that we might genuinely love each other. Do you? Love me, I mean. He looked at her, his expression softening. I'm getting there. Fighting not to, but getting there anyway. The real blow came from Willa's father. Graham showed up at her office unannounced, fury radiating from him. You're making a fool of yourself, dating that street vendor, bringing him to galas like he belongs there. Willa, what are you thinking? I'm thinking I'm in love with a good man. What's your problem with that? He's using you. Can't you see? He's a poor black man who's latched onto a rich white woman. It's the oldest story in the book. That's not what's happening. Roland has integrity you couldn't understand. Roland has dollar signs in his eyes. Willa, he sees your money and your connections and thinks he's hit the jackpot. You're being naive. Get out. I'm trying to protect you. No, you're trying to control me, just like you did 20 years ago when you forced me to break up with him. But Dad, I'm not 17 anymore. I don't need your approval or your money, and I definitely don't need your racist opinions. Get out of my office. If you continue this relationship, you'll regret it. I guarantee it. The only thing I regret is listening to you the first time. Now leave before I have security escort you out. After Graham left, Willa called Lennox, her most trusted colleague. I need to make a statement, public and clear, about my relationship with Roland. Are you sure? That'll open you up to even more scrutiny. I don't care. I'm not hiding him or us. I'm done letting other people's prejudices dictate my life. The statement went out that afternoon. Willa Hartley, CEO of Hartley Digital Media, confirms she is in a relationship with Roland Mercer, entrepreneur and community advocate. Ms. Hartley does not comment on her private life typically, but wants to make clear that attempts to paint her relationship as anything other than genuine and meaningful are based on prejudice and classism. She stands proudly with Mr. Mercer and will not tolerate racist or discriminatory commentary about their relationship. The statement sparked even more coverage, but it also sparked support. Employees at Hartley Digital Media spoke out in favor of their CEO's right to date whomever she chose. Other interracial couples shared their stories, and the Vendors Coalition publicly thanked Willa for standing up to prejudice. You didn't have to do that, Roland said when they met that evening. Yes, I did. Roland, I failed you once by being too cowardly to stand up to my father. I won't fail you again. Let the world judge. I know what we have is real. I love you. The words came out sudden, unplanned. God, I fought it for so long, but Willa, I love you. Still, again, always. I love you too. Never stopped, really. You've been the ghost I've been chasing for 20 years. They held each other in the parking lot, not caring who saw or photographed them. Because this love, this connection, this second chance was worth fighting for. 6 months into their relationship, Roland and Willa had settled into a comfortable rhythm. She'd helped him navigate the business loan process for his cafe, not by giving him money, but by introducing him to loan officers and helping with the business plan. He'd helped her rediscover what mattered beyond profit margins and stock prices. The loan came through, Roland said one evening, his voice shaking with excitement. They approved it. I'm opening my cafe. Roland, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. I couldn't have done it without you. Your guidance, your connections. No, you did this. Your business plan, your vision, your hard work. I just opened some doors. You walked through them yourself. The cafe opened 3 months later. A bright, welcoming space called Mercer's, specializing in healthy, affordable food for working people. Roland hired local staff, many from the Vendors Coalition, and business boomed from day one. This is everything I dreamed of, Roland said on opening night as they surveyed the full dining room. A real business, stable income, opportunities for other people. I'm proud of what we built. I'm proud of you, Roland. You did this against incredible odds. You deserve every bit of this success. So what do we do now? We've both got our businesses, our stability. Where does that leave us? I was thinking. Willa took a deep breath. Maybe we should think about combining households? Not rushing, but maybe starting to look at houses together. Somewhere with space for Micah, for your mom when she visits, for a family? A family? Willa, are you saying? I'm saying I love you and Micah and this life we're building, and I want it permanently. If you do? Roland pulled her close. I do. God, I do. But Willa, I need to know you're sure. That this isn't some temporary escape from your corporate life that you'll regret when the novelty wears off. This isn't novelty. This is the realest thing I've ever had. You and Micah, you're my family now. My real family, not just the title. Then yes, let's build that future. Together. How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. 1 year after their reconnection, Roland and Willa stood in the plaza where they'd first seen each other again. Roland's old snack cart stood nearby. He'd kept it, sentimental about the business that had supported him for so long. You know what's funny? Willa said, looking around. A year ago, I walked through here thinking I had everything. Money, power, success. And I saw you and realized I had nothing that actually mattered. And now I have you. I have Micah, who calls me Miss Willa and asks me to help with his homework. I have Aurora, who's finally stopped threatening to hurt me if I break your heart. I have purpose beyond profit margins. I have a life, Roland. A real, messy, beautiful life. You gave me something too. Hope. The belief that I could dream bigger than just survival. You helped me open Mercer's. But more than that, you helped me believe I deserved success. You always deserved it. I know that now. Took me long enough. They were quiet for a moment, remembering everything they'd been through. The teenage love, the painful separation, the 20 years apart, the unexpected reunion, the challenges of building something real despite societal pressure and personal baggage. Remember me? Willa whispered, echoing the words that had started this journey. That's what I asked you. And Roland, thank you for remembering, for giving me another chance, for loving me despite every reason not to. Remember me right back. Thank you for seeing beyond the street vendor to the man I still was underneath, for fighting for us when it would have been easier to walk away, for choosing love over comfort. So what happens now? We've got our happy ending. What comes after? After? Roland smiled. After, we live it. We raise Micah together. We build our businesses. We face down anyone who has a problem with us. We prove that love really can transcend class and race and all the barriers society tries to put between people. Sounds perfect. It won't be perfect. It'll be messy and complicated and sometimes really hard. But Willa, it'll be real, and that's worth more than any fairy tale. They kissed in the plaza, not caring about the passing crowd or the photographer who captured the moment. Because this love story that had started in a high school, been destroyed by prejudice and resurrected by chance, this was their truth. 20 years ago, they'd been separated by racism, classism, and fear. Now, they were together, despite all of it. They'd fought for their love, proven it was genuine, and built a life that honored both their pasts and their future. The single black dad selling snacks had ignored the millionaire CEO until she'd whispered, "Remember me?" And he had remembered the love they'd shared, the potential they'd had, the future they'd dreamed of together. And now finally, they were living that future, not the one they'd imagined as teenagers, but something better, something tested by time and strengthened by struggle. I love you, Willa said. I love you too. Always have, always will. Roland stood in Mercer's, watching the lunch rush with satisfaction. His cafe had expanded, 2 additional locations, 15 employees, and plans for a 4th store. The business Willa had helped him start had grown beyond his wildest dreams. But the best part wasn't the success. It was the family. Micah, now 10, bounded through the door after school. "Dad, Miss Willa, guess what? I got into the gifted program." "That's amazing, buddy." Roland pulled his son into a hug. Willa emerged from the back office. She worked for Mercer's twice a week now, preferring the warmth of the cafe to her corporate headquarters. "I'm so proud of you, Micah. We have to celebrate. Can we go to Grandma Aurora's? She makes the best celebration cake." "Absolutely," Willa agreed, ruffling his hair in that affectionate way that had become natural over the years. They'd gotten married 8 months ago, a small ceremony with family and close friends. Graham hadn't attended, still unable to accept his daughter's choice, but Willa had made peace with that. You couldn't force people to overcome their prejudices, but she could choose her own path. Choose love over fear, family over prejudice, authenticity over approval. "What are you thinking?" Roland asked as they drove to Aurora's house later. "That I'm happy, genuinely, completely happy. And that if someone had told 17-year-old me that I'd end up here, married to you, stepmom to Micah, working from a cafe instead of a corner office, I wouldn't have believed them. Regrets? Not a single one. You? Just one. That I wasted 20 years we could have spent together. We weren't ready then. We needed to become who we are now before we could make this work. Always the optimist. Someone has to be. As they pulled up to Aurora's house, where family and celebration and love awaited, Willa thought about the plaza where their story had restarted, about the fruit cup she'd bought, the conversation she'd forced, the persistence that had finally broken through Roland's walls. She'd been a millionaire CEO who thought she had everything. He'd been a single dad selling snacks, barely making ends meet. Society said they didn't belong together. Prejudice said their love wasn't real. But they'd proved everyone wrong, built a life that transcended class and race and every obstacle thrown in their path. And it had all started with 3 simple words. Remember me? He'd remembered. She'd remembered. And together, they'd created something worth remembering. A love story that proved second chances were real and that, sometimes, the best things in life came from refusing to give up on what mattered most.